Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us here this evening. I just want to make sure there's some messages going on. Oh, good. We're all good. Everybody's getting in okay. Excellent. My name is Nada St. Germain, and I was introduced to Neolife over 35 years ago. And the first story that really drew my attention was the grain oil story. And I'm going to take you a little bit to back in time, to a bit of history, and then right up to today, and why this information and research is impacting people's lives and has been for over 65 years. When I started using, the Neolife, or before Neolife, I mean, some of you know my story. I was working as a police officer right downtown Toronto, and I had a lot of stress. I was tired. I woke up tired. I went to bed tired. But in my teens, going into my early 20s, I had really, really bad cycles. My menstrual cycle was so bad that I would pass out at that time of the month. And I really, really struggled. I couldn't exercise during that time of the month. And there was many of times where I couldn't go into work. And I forgot about how bad it was until I start really thinking back, to over 35 years ago, even 40 years ago now. So blessed that I learned this information, because in a very short time, I balanced my hormones, I regulated my cycle, and I have more energy now in my late 50s than I did when I was in my 20s and 30s. So grateful to share this with you. And, when you look at our grains and our wheat, and I mean, all of our grains are milled. The grain oil, the essential fats are gone, and we're left with this kind of white processed flour, these essential fatty acids. And we're going to be talking most of the night. This is what we're going to be focusing on, because this is so important. But I'm going to bring you back to the 50s. And, now I have to say that these are articles that I found, and I kept these articles in my binder, for over 30 years. And I'm just going to take you back a little bit, because there was a doctor, Dr. Budwig, in the 50s, and she had research proving that it was important to have an oil and protein combination. Alone, they don't do the job, and they need each other. So essential oils and protein are critical. And do you know that in the wheat, the whole wheat kernel, there is oils and protein, and they work together to keep us healthy, and they are essential to keep our cells healthy. We're going to be talking a bit about this, and the effects of high doses of essential fatty acids on post-viral fatigue syndrome. This was in the 90s where they were talking about this, and they actually concluded that essential fatty acids provide a safe and effective treatment for patients with post-viral fatigue. This is a Professor Behan from the Institute of the Neurological Sciences in Glasgow, Scotland. There's so much research, and in Europe, there was so much more advanced in this technology and understanding the importance of these good fats. And they stated that it's a crucial factor to remember is not a single prostaglandin. And if you've never heard of the word prostaglandin are part of your hormone system, okay? And not a single prostaglandin can be produced by the body cells, not even that billionth of a gram, unless essential fatty acids are consumed in the diet and made readily available for prostaglandin synthesis, found in whole grains, seeds, nuts, vegetable oils, nutritional needs for the hormone system. These are critical for the hormone system. I mean, you look at what's happening all around the world and the challenges people are having with hormonal imbalances, you can just really understand why this is happening. And even in Time magazine back in 1994, Dr. Segal from Boston University Medical Center, he states that diets deficient in good fats may actually be dangerous to human health, and stated, don't look for these oils in processed grains. Food manufacturers remove these spoilage-prone compounds from pasta, bread, and breakfast cereals in order to lengthen the shelf life of products. Think about it. Think about how long our breads last. Weeks, cereal, years, pasta, forever. Okay, so these oils are no longer in any of our food. This is an article that talked about stabilized rice bran back in July of 2001. And they stated that one of the greatest challenges we face is to return our food environment to something resembling that which our bodies are designed to thrive on. In a study of type 1 and type 2 diabetes who were given rice bran products, results showed a significant reduction in blood glucose levels. Look at how many people are struggling, walking around as pre-diabetics. It's a huge, huge, huge problem. And what has been the largest wasted food resource has shown significant therapeutic value in treating cardiovascular conditions, arthritis, diabetes, and many other illnesses. You know, when you look at the rice bran and this incredible nutrient, it's gone. And it's essential. This was something that I found really interesting. It was an article on telling us where the oils are going. Do you know the milling industry, when they mill this oil out of our grain, it goes to our cattle? So this article was labeled "Going to the Dogs." Companion animals and horses are becoming beneficiaries with canine and equine feed additives. The benefits are said to include improvements in joints, connective tissues, skin and coat disorders, metabolism, immune system, stamina, cell protection, cholesterol, and blood sugar levels, all for the animals. Okay, guys, so look at all of these things and look at all the challenges that we're having all over the world. So rice bran is also used in several East Asian countries for better output of milk. A lot of women today are having struggling with producing breast milk, right? Again, these are essential fats. And rice bran has actually been used as a nutraceutical for as long as rice has been grown. Even in modern India, it's not uncommon for the mother of a sick child to collect fresh bran from rice polishing to make a therapeutic tea for a sick child. So that's how powerful these amazing grain oils are. So rice and whole grains are milled and are processed, no longer in any of our foods. So it's a challenge. Now, this is a study that's recent, and it was done in over 190 countries and published in Lancet. And they talked about how it's what we aren't eating is actually killing us. And guess what? It's the whole grains, the wheat, rice. But guess, they used to, way back when, grow wheat, grind wheat, make flour, make bread, and the breads only had a day shelf life. Not anymore. So our grains and our breads and all of our cereals, they no longer have those critical nutrients that our bodies need every single day for cell function. And you're only as healthy as your cells. So again, we call it the great grain robbery. Mass production is their goal. Longer shelf life is their goal. They mill out the fiber, the outer layer, all the precious oils and the germ, and all the 22 important nutrients are gone, and we're left with this kind of white flour, protein, gluten, with not a lot of nutritional value, and even the fiber is no longer there. Okay, so let's talk about why Neolife is different. So, we have a very rich heritage since 1958. Neolife, first of all, is the first company to have a protein on the market, a protein shake, okay, and also have these lipids and phytosterols, these grain oils. That's how Neolife started back in 1958 with those grain oils. And Fred and Jeannie Aldridge, she has a beautiful story. Fred was the first distributor to join Neolife in 1958. He bought the first bottle of Formula 4, was crippled with rheumatoid arthritis, his wife was, and the turnaround in her health was incredible. It's the only product that Neolife had for 5 years. This is Jeannie at 93. I had the opportunity of hanging out with her in Hawaii, just a beautiful soul. And she shared her story with me, and I was writing on a napkin. I said, Jeannie, you got to tell me your story. And it was so beautiful. And, she shared with me how from the time that I was a young girl, I had problems with pain in my legs and arms. At that time, I was told that I had growing pains. By the time I was in my 20s and the problem persisted, the doctors decided I had rheumatic fever because when I carried my first child, I had a heart problem, which they blamed onto rheumatic fever. I also had problems with the food that I ate, that I was treated for 12 years with ulcers, which turned out to be a very serious gallbladder problem. This almost cost me my life and also the life of my fourth child. I was very sick when I carried my children, and my first baby was mentally retarded, which I will always feel was caused because of severe nausea I had. I lived on tea and soda crackers. Nothing else would stay down. During the time I carried my fourth child, I had several really bad attacks, plus constant pain from my stomach into my back. When I was 4.5 months along, I ended up in the hospital with both appendicitis and gallstones. A specialist was called in to do the surgery, and he said that there was no way they could save the baby. And for 15 days, I lay in the hospital with very little chance of recovering. But I was blessed. I did pull through, and 4 months later, had a beautiful baby boy. By this time, I was taking 14 to 15 aspirins a day, nerve pills, tranquilizers, vitamins, cortisones, you name it, and still in so much pain, I could hardly stand it. Seemed like I spent most of my time crying. I also had sinus problem, which the doctor said unless I had surgery, would have for the rest of my life. About this time, friends were encouraging me to try natural vitamins on the market, but no help. Then Fred heard about a new product that had been developed in a hospital in California. The research had been completed and the product had been tested on people who had patients at a hospital over a long period of time. Fred purchased one for me and one to sell and convinced me to try them. We already had a cupboard full of vitamins, and I thought it was foolish to try more. But along with Donald Pickett, the founder of Neolife, convinced me these were different because of the ingredients it contained, particularly the TreaNN base, which was designed to feed the glands and bring about a balance of body chemistry. So I would start producing my own hormones, particularly the cortisone I needed. I took them faithfully and increased them gradually until I was taking 8 greenies a day. They were called Formula 4, but I called them greenies. Soon I was getting results we never dreamed possible. I gradually regained my health and got rid of all the medications I was taking. You know, when I met Jeannie and heard this story, and we were going to convention every year, she was on that dance floor with her husband every single dance, and it was incredible. So, you know, when you're looking at TreaNN and the story, some very interesting Neolife history. So dating back to 1946, 8 years before the company was founded, refining and the removal of these essential oils from the heart of grains due to food processing began to ramp up in the 1930s and the 1940s and set the stage for widespread malnutrition. Generations of people were soon complaining of fatigue and exhaustion. They were the children and grandchildren of people who had sawed forests and dug ditches by hand. They knew something was wrong, but yet the doctors couldn't find anything wrong with them. In 1946, a government research grant was awarded to the Hollywood Presbyterian Hospital in Southern California to study these chronically fatigued people. As a result of the research, a formula was developed of the essential oils, the lipids and sterols from wheat, rice, and soy. And the chronically fatigued people participating in the study improved greatly when these essential oils were added back into their daily diet. TreaNN was the name given to these concentrated extracts of lipids and sterols from wheat, rice, and soy. The TreaNN is Greek for 3 in 1, so the 3 grains. And as happens when many government studies end, the formula was put on a shelf and nothing was done with it. This was sad as many people were being helped by these essential oils. One of the participants in the study was a woman who had suffered for years with extremely painful rheumatoid arthritis. Her pain was so bad, she could not stand the pressure of sheets on her bed at night. Her husband, Wally, heard about the research going on in Southern California. He quit his job and started working as a medical detail man with the doctors who were doing the grain oil research. His wife became one of the study patients and improved dramatically over the next 2 years. The grain oil formula was put on a shelf. The man and his wife were able to acquire the formula from the research hospital. In 1958, Wally joined Don Pickett, a salesman for a direct sales company that sold waterless cookware. They founded the Neolife Company. Wally attempted to make the formula available to the medical community for their patients, but unfortunately, the medical community was not interested. Soon, Wally became discouraged and he stepped away from the company. They actually almost gave up on finishing this incredible product, but Mr. Pickett began being familiar with the direct sales and marketing. You know, he chose to use direct sales as this marketing tool because he knew the product would, first of all, require an explanation. People would need to understand the difference between his supplements and other supplements on the market. And the first and only product to be sold with the brand name of Neolife was Formula 4. Formula 4 contained the grain oil, Formula 4 plus additional vitamins, minerals, amino acid protein, and enzymes derived from whole food. And guys, this is a product I started taking 35 years ago. And within a month, the turnaround in my cycle, my energy, I was able to deal with stress better. I didn't understand what adrenal support was, but this really impacted my life. Turnaround was absolutely incredible. And Mr. Pickett, he opened his own manufacturing facility and testing equipment, including an artificial stomach, to make sure that the nutrients were being absorbed where it needed to be absorbed. And Neolife holds a pharmaceutical license so as to keep standards high in the manufacturing of all Neolife products. Supplement manufacturers are not required by law to hold a pharmaceutical license, but this was a choice of integrity that is still held by the company today. All raw materials are held to the highest standards and thoroughly tested for any impurities. Donald Pickett passed away peacefully in his home back in 2012 at the age of 96. This is such a beautiful story, and the legacy that he has left behind is absolutely incredible. But just imagine, we have over 73 trillion cells, and the basic function of a healthy cell is to take in nutrients and to eliminate waste. If we don't have these grain oils in our diet, guess what? The membrane is hard and sticky like the cell on the left. Nutrients can't get in and waste can't get out. You add lipids and sterols and the cell membrane is soft. Nutrients go in, waste goes out. You have energy. And that's the kind of stories we get from people. You know, it could take 2 to 3 months. Sometimes it takes just a couple of weeks. The stories we get from people sharing how they feel after they start getting their cells healthy is absolutely incredible. So I'm going to have Virginia, if you can join us. I think she's here. Yes. Hello. Hello.
Yeah. Before Neolife, I used to wake up tired and drained. I felt like this even as a child. Through my teenage years and in my early 20s and 30s, I was always exhausted. Most days when I come home from work, I would have to take a nap before I could make supper. Then I started taking the Neolife supplement, the Pro Vitality with extra threonine. Wow, I was amazed how great I felt. I was no longer taking those afternoon naps during the day, and I felt most energetic that I've ever felt. I exercised, trained, and became fit, and was able to run a few half marathons. I'm so grateful for the Neolife supplements because it has changed my life. Thank you, Nada, for allowing me to share my story.
And you know, Virginia, thank you for sharing. And I know you've passed this on now to your kids, your daughters.
Yeah.
are now 30 and what are their ages now?
Yeah. 30 and 32. Yeah.
30 and 32. And now they have children of their own.
Mhm.
And, you know, I've spent time with them over the last month and to see how grateful they are that
Yes.
they have
Yeah.
these nutrients for their children, right?
Mhm.
Because they know and
Yes.
they watched you as a mom, right? Really, really struggling. So yeah, so thank you so much for sharing your story with us this evening, Virginia. Really, really appreciate it. And I'm actually going to play now Cheyenne's video. I hope you can hear it. I'm going to try to play it on my Bluetooth.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, I was struggling a lot with
Can you hear it?
fatigue, excessive fatigue. And I was really tired all the time. I wasn't sleeping properly. I swear I was waking up more tired than when I went to bed. And I was dealing with a lot of anxiety. I had kind of developed anxiety over maybe the last 4 or 5 years, and it was getting progressively worse. And it was becoming, I was having panic attacks pretty much weekly once I had met you and started kind of chatting to you about that, and they were kind of coming out of nowhere. There was no rhyme or reason to it. So that was really hindering in a lot of ways. So I started on the breakfast pack, and I added in 1 extra TRINN with cell function, and pretty much immediately for me, truthfully, like I noticed energy right away. Within a couple of weeks, I noticed I was sleeping better. And I just had more energy. I felt a lot better. And with my anxiety, I kind of clued in after about a month of being on the products. And I realized, oh my gosh, I haven't had a panic attack in a month. And that was unheard of for me for probably about a year. It had been so consistent that it was, you know, becoming a weekly thing. So I've added in a few things now because I do have a couple other autoimmune disorders that we're going to talk about, but I've been on the products now since February, and I have not had a panic attack since March. So by balancing my hormones, that made a huge impact for me for both energy and anxiety. Yeah,
So isn't that, you know, just when you talk to some young people that are really, really struggling, right, with hormonal balance and you know, and my sister now is going to share her amazing story. Some of you know that she had an eating disorder as a young child, and we didn't know what was going on, but her health was really declining, and eventually she reached out, and the TRINN grain concentrate really had an impact. I'm going to have her share her story as well.
Yeah, so I don't have to read, this is my story up here right now, but I'm not going to read the whole story. I'm going to talk about what I've been through. So I did, when I was younger, I was a massive, like I was into dieting and exercise, and I did a lot of too much dieting and exercising where it really affected my health. I would lose like too much weight, and then I'd exercise too much, and it got to the point where when I hit probably in my 30s, my periods just stopped. And it was really concerning because I knew it wasn't normal and I didn't know what to do. So I had gone to, like, I waited, and then I was hoping it would just come back, but then it didn't. And I went to a doctor, and they just put me on like estrogen pills. So I was on estrogen for probably, I would say almost a year, and I still did not get my period. And I knew I heard bad things about taking estrogen, and it wasn't like healthy and everything. So I was kind of scared while I was taking it, but I just didn't. I thought, well, the doctor said I should take it, so maybe it will help me. Didn't get my period. And then I had talked to my sister, and I said, you know, like I'm concerned, and like, what should I do? And then she didn't realize that I hadn't had my period for that long either. So she's like, we sat down, and we kind of went through a plan of what I needed. And I was taking the vitamins, but I wasn't consistent. I was taking like here and there, a little bit of vitamin C, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Like I wasn't consistently taking the vitamins. So Nada and I had talked, and as soon as I started on a program of the Formula 4, which had the grain concentrates and other things like the salmon oil with the grain, with the essential fatty acids, and B vitamins and protein. And I really, really like stuck to this program of taking it consistently, and there was like, you know, like 6 or 7 Formula 4 a day, and like 5 or 6 salmon oil a day. Like I just was really, I didn't want to be on the hormone therapy anymore. So it took about, I would say, 6 months, and then my period, I started to get my period normally, and it was like, it came back, and I was so excited. I called Nat. I was like over the moon excited. And then ever since then, like my period was on the mark, like every 26 days, it was like completely normal. And then I just never looked back. Like I was so excited to have it back. And then I was worried too, like going into my late 30s, because that's when I had children. I was actually 40 when I had my first child, but I didn't think, I was like, will I be able to have children? Like I was a little bit worried, like, because my periods were so crazy, and I didn't have them for a while, and I thought, but no problems. Like I had I got pregnant right away. I had 2 healthy pregnancies. So that was really such a like a great thing for me to have that in my life. And then another thing I wanted to mention too was I also had suffered from cystic acne when I was like in my late 20s and in my 30s, and it was really bothersome as well. So that went away, and I know that the grain oils help with that, because even when like I would kind of sway away from like taking the grain oils or taking like being consistent later on in life, every time I would notice that I would get like the acne and stuff could come back. And so I would never ever, like, that's something that I can't consistently take is the grain oils, because it's helped me with my hormones and with the cystic acne and my period. So that was something that really helped me. So I'm very grateful.
So that's my baby sister. And I'm wondering if Shelly is on. I know she had an event tonight, and she was, oh, there you are. Hey, Shelly.
Yes, I am on. Hi.
Awesome. Great to see you. I know maybe
Yeah.
you could share your journey and how the grain oils have impacted your life.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think the biggest thing is, and I didn't really realize it was happening at the time because I was so focused on getting rid of my knee pain, but my cycles, similar to your sister's, I was active a lot, and so they were not regular at all. You know, trying to get pregnant was a real challenge because cycles were kind of all over the place. And then all of a sudden, when I started using the Pro Vitality, the shakes, my cycle got so regular to the point where my husband actually said, "You have it again?" And I went, "Well, yeah, like this is the way it's supposed to be." Because normally it was like every 3 months, every 4, like it was really crazy. And so it was really wonderful to have it regular. And then when I went through menopause, because my hormones were more balanced, that was much, I just kind of flew through the odd hot flashes here and there, but just amazing just to go through menopause with, you know, stories that I hear from people whose hormones are really, you know, not balanced. So I was really grateful to have learned about these products.
Absolutely. And I know, Shelly, you've gone on to share that with people, and one of our well, a dear friend of yours, I mean, when you introduced Sandra to the products, maybe if you can just share a little bit, because some people are concerned that, oh, you know, what if I have gluten sensitivities or wheat sensitivities like celiac disease and some of these other, you know, issues where they're sensitive. Maybe you can share a little bit about that journey, because we've had some amazing stories, even with people that have sensitivities to gluten.
Yeah, so I met Sandra, and she is celiac, as are a couple of people in her family as well. So when I started sharing about Neolife, and she was a bit concerned because, oh my gosh, what do I do with the wheat? And my understanding is that celiac people with celiac have issues with the protein within the gluten, but not the oils. So she actually started off with the carotenoids, and that really helped her. And so then she said, you know what, I'll try them. So between her and her kids and her family, they are now using the grain oils, the Formula 4, and the Pro Vitality. And she has severe celiac and has no issue with it at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's doing amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Shelly, this evening.
You're welcome.
Really appreciate hearing your story. And, you know, so where do we get these amazing oils? You know, I was so grateful that I had access to this amazing product called Liquivite. This is a liquid version for babies. And my kids are now 23 and 25. And fortunately, I was on the products before I had my kids. So when I was carrying my babies, they were able to get these amazing nutrients into their little bodies and into their brains, because those grain oils are so important for even your brain function. But then when they were babies, I was able to give them a Liquivite, and it's a multivitamin for babies, and it contains those grain oils, the TRANN grain concentrate, which is so important for the growth and development of little guys. So, and I even have people that can't chew or can't swallow, like some elderly people, they will use the Liquivite. So that's one way that you can get these amazing grain oils into your diet. And then we have a chewable version for kids as well. And just remember, those grain oils at TRANN helps to feed their cells. Okay, there's a lot of vitamins out there for kids that have dye, color, artificial sweeteners. This is a completely natural product. It contains the TRANN grain concentrate, again, for cellular energy and nutrition, loaded with 18 essential vitamins and minerals. It's great tasting. Okay, so they do sweeten it with a natural fructose, so not high fructose corn syrup, big difference. No artificial anything, no artificial colors, no artificial sweeteners, flavors, or preservatives added. And when you look at some of the stuff that's out there that has color and dye and gummies and chewies, and you've got to be really careful with what kind of products you're giving your kids. But again, the Neolife difference, yes, it's made from whole food, but these vitamins contain those essential lipids and phytosterols. So we do have a product called Pro Vitality. So you heard Cheyenne talk about the Pro Vitality, and Virginia mentioned Pro Vitality. So this is kind of like our Cadillac of multis. It has one TRANN grain concentrate, that oil from grain. Okay, the wheat, rice, and soy. That product was developed in 1958. We're celebrating 65 years in San Antonio. So we're so grateful to be hanging out with the scientists and just celebrate this incredible product. So that's one of the nutrients that's in this Vitality pack. Then there's the carotenoid, which is your fruits and vegetables, because we're not eating 9 to 13 servings of fruits and vegetables every single day. So one of these that's in this pack is like consuming 80 pounds of raw fruits and vegetables in a month. Powerful antioxidants, and for immunity, proven to boost your immune system 37% in just 20 days. Then there's omega-3 fish oil. So you have your essential lipids and phytosterols, which is a good fat. Then you have your omega-3 fish oil that plays a really critical role in reducing inflammation. Okay, and that's where your omega-3 fish oil comes in. But our fish oil is tested for 200 contaminants with an allowance of 0. No mercury, no lead, no toxins. So safe for mom, pregnant mom, safe for baby, safe for kids. Okay, and there's a multivitamin. So in this convenient pack, we call this like a Cadillac of multis, a multivitamin, a fish oil, a fruit and vegetable carotenoid, and the TRANN grain concentrate. Okay. Now you heard my sister talk about Formula 4. So this is a multivitamin with the TRANN, with vitamins and minerals plus iron. And the reason why we started my sister with this product was because of her age. When you're younger, you need more iron. And because she didn't have a period, she needed the iron. I was taking the Formula 4 as well because of my heavy period. So this is a great product for teens or athletes, people that are very active. Okay, they sometimes they have low iron as well. People that don't eat a lot of meat. Okay, but it's just a great multivitamin. So if you do have low iron, you can do the Formula 4, and that is another product that helps to fill that gap, especially if you have low iron. And again, if you're menstruating and young, I would say as soon as you can start swallowing, young kids and like in their maybe 10, 11, 12 years old, great product to move over to if they're okay to swallow, or they can keep chewing that Vita Squares until they're ready to kind of graduate to the Formula 4. Okay. Then we have something called Formula 4 Plus. No iron, a little more grain oil. This is great for men. it has a multivitamin mineral supplement plus a Tran tablet in a little convenient pack. Okay. Most men don't need extra iron. So they've developed this product for people that don't need iron. Okay. And most men don't, unless you have an iron deficiency. So again, another great multivitamin for people that don't want extra iron and they want a good multi with the grain oil. Okay. But just remember, it's in the Vitality Pack. Okay. So the Vitality Pack is definitely a better place to start. But if you need a little bit more, then this is something that you can add or fall back on. So let's talk a little bit about the science. You know, when you're looking at Dr. Arthur First, do you know he was a pioneer in war on cancer? And when you see our scientific advisory board and you meet our scientific advisory board and you talk to our scientific advisory board, they're very passionate. They're world-renowned scientists and nutrition experts. They're active, published, and very well respected. Okay. They work together to develop and manufacture our products. And Dr. Arthur First was a senior member of our scientific advisory board. His research was absolutely incredible. We were so blessed and so grateful to have him part of our team. And because of him, a lot of our studies have been published in peer-reviewed third-party medical journals. Okay. He founded the Stanford Cancer Chemotherapy Laboratory. He was credited with being the founder of chemotherapy. He led the Neolife Scientific Advisory Board for 25 years, PhD in chemistry from Stanford, a doctor of science from the University of San Francisco, a diplomat of the Academy of Toxicological Sciences, a distinction that's held by fewer than 100 scientists around the world. Now, when you talk to Dr. First, or when I had the opportunity of talking with him, you know, he was very frustrated as a young scientist because when he was doing his research, nobody would listen to him. This is before Neolife. He knew that food and nutrition played a really big role, and he went away from drug research and cancer research and shifted his focus to prevention and ending the trend of chronic disease. He knew that those essential lipids in phytosterols were essential, and nobody had them but Neolife. He knew it played a critical role in getting your body healthy because you're only healthy as your cells. And those grain oils are critical for cell function. I actually found this picture, and you know, this is going back probably about 30 years ago. We hung out with Dr. First quite a bit. This is Mary Ellen, one of my holistic nutritionists, and he wore his heart on his sleeve. Just a beautiful soul. And yeah, we hung out with the scientists. So a lot of companies have scientists and they just endorse the product. But our scientists are there with us and they're doing research constantly, and they're in communication with scientists from all over the world. Okay. They're not experts in every field, but they're in contact with experts from all over the world. And I'm going to have our lovely Joan. Joan, you have a beautiful story and a beautiful journey. I'd love for you to join us and share your amazing story. Welcome, Joan.
Thank you, Nada. I'm going to share my story about Tran tonight, since that's our topic. I was introduced to Neolife 28 years ago, and so I've been taking Tran for the past 28 years. I had just finished treatment for breast cancer at that time, and I was looking for something to boost my immune system and my energy level. But even before my treatment, or even before getting sick, I used to go to bed tired, wake up tired. And I thought it was because of the 12-hour shifts I did as a nurse. And I thought I was 40 at the time. I thought maybe I'm slowing down. But after taking the Tran, I realized that was what was missing from my diet. And after taking it, within a few weeks, I felt a huge difference in my energy level. So that's one of the big things, is my energy level. And also, I'd like to say I sailed through menopause, because I did not have, maybe one hot flash, but I just sailed through menopause, and I was able to deal with stress better. And I didn't have those stories, the stories that some with menopausal women, right? And how they treat their husbands sometimes, right?
Yeah.
So I never had those issues. So I'm so grateful to have had Tran. Plus, I take a lot of other products, but the focus on Tran tonight has made a huge difference for me. Thank you for asking.
Yeah. Thanks, Joan. I remember somebody asked me, do you get a hot flash? I said, I don't know. I think maybe sometimes, like, I might get a little sweaty, but I don't know if that's a hot flash. So that's kind of a good thing, because I talked to so many people that really struggled, and you know, being 35 years on Tran and some of the other products, I did sail through menopause, but it's really interesting to see my mom, because my mom was in her 40s. And you know, she had a little bit, you know, through her change as well. And yeah, so I like to say she's aging gracefully, and that's what Tran will do, because again, just getting your cells working properly will just help you to get the nutrients getting into your cells, and that's what helps to slow aging. So it plays a really, really big role. You know, when you're looking at our breakfast solution, and we talked about the Vitality Pack, when you add the Neolife Shake to this pack, this kind of completes the hormone recipe. Tran is a part of it, protein is a part of it. And protein also plays a critical role in balancing and regulating your hormones. So, you know, I like to say, you know, it has been my breakfast for 35 years. And again, just having that completeness, all 22 amino acids, completely natural, and also safe for kids and babies. It is completely natural and tastes absolutely fantastic. My kid's favorite was the chocolate. So again, just a great way to start your day, and having that breakfast solution is a great program, and will really help with regulating and balance your hormones, because it does contain the Tran grain concentrate. And we do have a vegan option for those of you that are looking for something a little more plant-based. So when you're looking at the total wellness solution, you know, Neolife has a lot of different products, whether it be for digestion, for joint pain, you know, for just for stress and mental health. But the Tran is always a part and the foundation of every single nutritional system that we talk about. Because without your cell membranes working properly, you're not going to get that proper nutrient utilization. Okay. And one of the studies that was published on Tran from Texas A&M University, they proved that your cells will absorb nutrients from your diet 50% more. So could you imagine, if you have a really good diet, how much better you will feel? So again, total health and wellness solution for all of your health needs. So how do you get started? I know we've got a few guests on this evening, and I'm so grateful that Neolife has what we call a club membership, which is free to join. As soon as you become a member, you automatically get a 10% discount, and you can even get 20% off. So we can show you how to do that on every order. You know, there's no requirements, there's just savings. You can earn free products, and also get all your shipping back. We have an amazing referral program. Do you know that Vitamin Pack, the Vitality Pack, if you refer 3 people and they start using that pack, yours is free every single month. Many of my customers get their Vitality Pack free, and we can help you do that as well. Especially once you start feeling better, it's so hard not to share your story. And then we have another level called a promoter. You know, when I first looked at this 35 years ago, I was not looking for a business. I was not looking for an income opportunity, and neither was Joan. Joan was a registered nurse. She was just looking at feeling better, having more energy, and helping her stay healthy, right? That's all I wanted. I wanted better health for me and better health for my mom. My mom was really sick. She had fibromyalgia and a lot of arthritic pain, and all I wanted was to feel better. But when I saw the turnaround in her health, in my health, and I started sharing, I looked at the income opportunity a little more seriously, because I wanted tax savings at the end of the year. And where can you start a business for as little as $98 in Canada or $75 in the US? And that unlocks a 25% savings, a discount on your order. And the company supplies everything, full access to compensation plan, and you're not by yourself. We work together as a team. So these are the health packs. So, you know, if you're looking at just a great multi, we talked about the Vitality Pack that contains the grain oil. We can have the breakfast solution where you're having your protein shake with the Vitality Pack. Or if you're looking at shedding a few pounds, we have an incredible Proven 33 system where you can also shed a few pounds if you're thinking, I could really, really lose some weight. And the referral program. If you refer 3, you get yours free, even with that breakfast solution when you add the protein shakes. And again, the one more option, if you know anyone that really enjoys helping others, or they're looking to generate an extra $200 to $500 a month or $1,000 or more, you know, I was looking at replacing my police income, and I was able to do that and leave my job at age 30. And my husband left his police career at age 35. So it really is possible, but only because the products work. And people love to share good things, like sharing a good book or sharing a really good movie. So again, if you're looking at trying the products, give them a try. You know, reach out to the person that invited you, get started as a club member. If you're curious about the income opportunity, reach out and just ask us how this works, and we can help you and guide you in that direction as well. So I'll stop the recording and open up to any questions that you may have. So I know we've got quite a few guests on tonight. So thank you so much for joining us this evening.